strange and beyond the belief of modern scientists. Their antiquity is stupendous, dating back some 36,000 years before Christ. The writer is Thoth, an Atlantean priest king who founded a colony in ancient Egypt after the sinking of the mother country. He was the builder of the Great Pyramid of Giza, erroneously attributed to Cheops. In it, he incorporated his knowledge of the ancient wisdom and also securely secreted records and instruments of ancient Atlantis. For some 16,000 years, he ruled the ancient race of Egypt from approximately 50,000 before Christ to 36,000 before Christ. At that time, the ancient barbarous race, among which he and his followers had settled, had been raised to a high degree of civilization. Thoth was an immortal, that is, he had conquered death, passing only when he willed, and even then not through death. His vast wisdom made him ruler over the various Atlantean colonies, including the ones in South and Central America. When the time came for him to leave Egypt, he erected the Great Pyramid over the entrance to the great halls of Amenti, placed in it his records, and appointed guards for his secrets from among the highest of his people. In later times, the descendants of these guards became the pyramid priests, by which Thoth was deified as the god of wisdom, the recorder, by those in the age of darkness which followed his passing. In legend, the halls of Amenti became the underworld, the halls of the gods, where the soul passed after death for judgment. During later ages, the ego of Thoth passed into the bodies of men into the manner described in the tablets. As such, he incarnated 3 times, in his last being known as Hermes, the thrice-born. In this incarnation, he left the writings known to modern occultists as the Emerald Tablets, a later and far lesser exposition of the ancient mysteries. The tablets translated in this work are 10, which were left in the Great Pyramid in the custody of the pyramid priests. The 10 are divided into 13 parts for the sake of convenience. The last 2 are so great and far-reaching in their import that at present it is forbidden to release them to the world at large. However, in those contained therein are secrets which will prove of inestimable value to the serious student. They should be read, not once, but 100 times, for only thus can the true meaning be revealed. A casual reading will give glimpses of beauty, but more intensive study will open avenues of wisdom to the seeker. But now, as a word to how these mighty secrets came to be revealed to modern men after being hidden so long. Some 1300 years before Christ, Egypt, the ancient Kem, was in turmoil, and many delegations of priests were sent to the other parts of the world. Among these were some of the pyramid priests who carried with them the Emerald Tablets as a talisman by which they could exercise authority over the less advanced priestcraft of races descended from other Atlantean colonies.
Okay, hang on a second,
Yeah?
because we already have a question in the chat from Marita.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
She says, I already have a question.
You could say
this is
mythology, but at the same time, it's in part history. Thoth in his tablets, he explains that he was born a mortal, but born in the Atlantean city. So this is a record left behind, and some say they have seen it, and some do not. But you could take this like what they usually say is all mysteries come from these tablets. All the religions that exist today come from this. So it's kind of mythology and at the same time history. You can continue it.
Marita, does that answer your question? Can you can you reply in the chat if that your question? Yes, she says, yeah, thank you, good for now.
Okay. So
right,
I'll continue then.
You continue, yeah.
The tablets were understood from legend to give the bearer authority from Thoth. The particular group of priests bearing the tablets emigrated to South America, where they found a flourishing race, the Mayas, who remembered much of the ancient wisdom. Among these, the priests settled and remained. In the 10th century, the Mayas had truthfully settled the Yucatan, and the tablets were placed beneath the altar of one of the great temples of the sun god. After the conquest of the Mayas by Spaniards, the cities were abandoned and the treasures of the temples forgotten.
Hilondray?
Yes, I'm reading what Florence is
Oh,
saying.
okay. Yeah, don't they say that the emerald tablets are in the right paw of the Sphinx, hidden until the Great Awakening? That's why they don't let anyone work on the Sphinx ever.
It's really interesting, but I have to say something. If you, I suppose you all had some degree of experience with astral traveling. The way to get to the Sphinx is not physical, is in astral travel. So like you have these records left behind to teach you, because they do teach a lot. The more you read them, the more knowledge you get. I know that by experience, because I read them one time. I started having a lot of ideas. So this guides you to eventually go to the pyramids and go to the Sphinx and do a certain process. So can I continue? Okay. It should be understood that the Great Pyramid of Egypt has been and still is a temple of initiation into the mysteries. Jesus, Solomon, Apollonius, and others were initiated there. The writer, who has a connection with the Great White Lodge, which also works through the pyramid priesthood, was instructed to recover and return to the Great Pyramid the ancient tablets. This, after adventures which need not be detailed here, was accomplished. Before returning them, he was given permission to translate and retain a copy of the wisdom engraved on the tablets. This was done in 1925, and only now has permission been given for part to be published. It is expected that many will scoff, yet the true student will read between the lines and gain wisdom. If the light is in you, the light which is engraved in these tablets will respond. Now a word as to the material aspect of the tablets. They consist of 12 tablets of emerald green, formed from a substance created through alchemical transmutation. They are imperishable, resistant to all elements and substances. In effect, the atomic and cellular structure is fixed, no change ever taking place. In this respect, they violate the material law of ionization. About what you said, Maritza. You believe that Jesus is God. You can believe he is part of it because it's a manifestation, but in the end, you are God.
This is in the chat, right? So because of the recording, people that listen to the recording don't necessarily
Yes.
the chat. So
Yeah, that's fine. I just want to say that apparently that Hilondray was saying Jesus was initiated in the pyramids.
Yeah.
right, and just for the recording, like what Hilondray is referring to is Marisa said, "I believe Jesus is God," which is a just for the record.
Thank
Okay.
you. Thank you. How would you respond to that, Hilondray?
About the
Because
fact of
it's a matter of just a different perspective, isn't it?
yes.
It's
I
not
mean,
really like this isn't like religious context.
no, not at all. Like in the tablets, one thing Thoth says is he uses magic science. Science defies the logics of religion. So automatically saying this is not a religion. And I mean, Jesus went through a process in his life. You know, like if you try to read about it, there were some years where he has no history. I believe those years were the years that he was in training and being initiated. So, like, he reached enlightenment because of the initiation. That's why he was who he was.
Right.
That is my
Hang on,
opinion.
there's more from Maritza. She says, if you believe Jesus was an enlightened being, then he was a liar and a fake because he said he was God.
He didn't say he was God.
And then there's an I think that's a typo. I don't know. And then she says, I'll keep listening, but that is not true. Yes, he did. I'm sorry. Okay.
I think it's fine if we just try and keep to the reading.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, and the topic.
We talk
Obviously, like we'll ask questions, and
it's better if we talk in the end.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I think we've gone.
So
yeah.
I will read until 20, then we will pause for 10 minutes. Okay. Upon them are engraved characters in the ancient Atlantean language, characters which respond to attuned thought waves, releasing the associated mental vibration in the mind of the reader. The tablets are fastened together with hoops of golden-colored alloy suspended from a rod of the same material. So much for the material appearance. The wisdom contained therein is the foundation of the ancient mysteries. And for the one who reads with open eyes and mind, his wisdom shall be increased 100-fold. Read, believe it or not, but read, and the vibration found therein will awaken a response in your soul. In cosmic harmony, Dorial, supreme voice of the Brotherhood. Emerald Tablet 1. The History of Thoth the Atlantean. I, Thoth the Atlantean, master of mysteries, keeper of records, mighty king, magician, living from generation to generation, being about to pass into the halls of Amenti, set down for the guidance of those that are to come after. These records of the mighty wisdom of great Atlantis. I began this incarnation in the great city of Kior, on the island of Undal, in a time far past, not as the little men of the present age did the mighty ones of Atlantis live and die, but rather from eon to eon did they renew their life in the halls of Amenti, where the river of life flows eternally onward. 100 times 10, I have descended the dark way that leads into light, and as many times have I ascended from the darkness into the light, my strength and power renewed. Now for a time I descend, and the children of Chem shall know me no more. But in a time yet unborn I will rise again, mighty and potent, requiring an accounting of those left behind me. Then beware, O children of Chem, if you have falsely betrayed my teachings, I shall cast you down from your high estate into the darkness of the caves from whence you came. Betray not my secrets to the children of the north or the south, else my curse shall fall upon you. Remember and heed my words, for surely will I return again and require of you that which you guard. Yes, even from the beyond time and from beyond that will I return, rewarding or punishing as you have given your trust. Great were my people in the ancient days, great beyond the conception of the little people around me now, knowing the wisdom of old, seeking far within the heart of infinity knowledge that belonged to the youth of the earth. Wise were we with the wisdom of the children of light who dwelt among us. Strong were we with the power drawn from the eternal life, fire. And of all these, greatest amongst the children of life was my father, Thothme, keeper of the great temple, the link between the children of light who dwelt within the temple and the races of humanity who inhabited the 10 islands, mouthpiece, after the tree, of the dweller of Undal, speaking to the kings with the voice that must be obeyed. It was there I grew from a child into manhood, being taught by my father the elder mysteries, until in time there grew within me the fire of wisdom, until it burst into a consuming flame. I desired nothing but the attainment of wisdom, until, on a great day, the command came from the dweller of the temple that I be brought before him. Few there were among the children of life who had looked upon that mighty face and lived. For not as the sons of mankind are the children of light when they are not incarnate in a physical body. I was chosen from the children of life to be taught by the dweller, so that his purpose might be fulfilled. Purpose is yet unborn in the womb of time. For many long ages I dwelt in the temple, learning ever more wisdom, until I too approached the light emitted from the great fire. He taught me the path to Amenti, the underworld where the great kings sit upon his throne of might. Deep I bowed in homage before the lords of life and the lords of death, receiving as my gift the key of life. Free was I of the halls of Amenti, bound not by that to the circle of life. Far to the stars I journeyed, until space and time became as nothing. Then, having drunk deep of the cup of the wisdom, I looked into the hearts of humankind, and there found I greater mysteries, and I was glad. For only in the search for truth could my soul be stilled, and the flame within be quenched. Down through the ages I lived, seeing those around me taste of the cup of death, and return again in the light of life. Gradually, from the kingdoms of Atlantis passed waves of consciousness that had been one with my own, and long only to be replaced by spawn of a lower star. In obedience to the law, the word of the master grew into flower. Downward into darkness turned the thoughts of the Atlanteans, until at last, in his wrath, the dweller arose from his aguanti, which is a transcendent meditative slumber, and spoke the word, calling the power. Deep in Art's heart, the children of Amenti heard and directed the changing of the flower of fire that burns eternally. Using the logos, they caused the great fire to change and shift its direction. Over the world then broke the great waters, drowning and sinking, changing Earth's balance until only the Temple of Light was left standing on the great mountain of Undal, still rising out of the water. There were only some who were still living, saved from the rush of the fountains. Called to me then the Master, saying, "You must gather together my people. Take them by the arts you have learned of far across the waters, until you reach the land of the hairy barbarians, dwelling in caves of the desert. It is there you must follow the plan that you know of." Then I gathered my people and entered the great ship of the Master. Upward we rose into the morning. The temple lay dark beneath us. Suddenly the waters rose over it, and the great temple vanished from the earth until the time appointed for it to return. Fast we fled towards the sun of the morning, until beneath us lay the land of the children of Chem. Raging, they came with daggers and spears, lifted in anger, seeking to slay and utterly destroy the sons of Atlantis. Then I raised my staff and directed a ray of vibration, striking them still in their tracks as fragments of stone of the mountain. Then spoke I to them in words calm and peaceful, telling them of the might of Atlantis, saying we were children of the sun and its messengers. I cowed them by my display of magic science until at my feet they groveled, where I released them. We dwelt a long time in the land of Chem, long and yet long again, until, obeying the commands of the Master, who while sleeping yet lives eternally, I sent away the sons of Atlantis, sent them in many directions, that from the womb of time wisdom might rise again in her children. For a long time I dwelt in the land of Chem, doing great works by the wisdom within me. Upward grew into the light of knowledge the children of Chem, watered by the rains of my wisdom. Then I blessed the path to Amenti, so that I might retain my powers, living from age to age, a son of Atlantis, keeping the wisdom, preserving the records. The children of Chem grew great, conquering the people around them, growing slowly upwards in soul force. Now for a time I go from among them into the dark halls of Amenti, deep in the halls of the earth, before the lords of the powers, face to face once again with the dweller. High over the entrance, I raised a doorway, a gateway leading down to Amenti. Few there would be with the courage to dare it. Few passed the portal to dark Amenti. Over the passage, I raised the mighty pyramid, using the power that overcomes hurt force, gravity. Deep and yet deeper, I placed the force house or chamber. From it, I carved a circular passage, reaching almost to the great summit. There in the apex, I set the crystal, sending the ray into the time-space, drawing the force from out of the ether, concentrating upon the gateway to Amenti. Other chambers I built and left vacant to all seeming, yet hidden within them are the keys to Amenti. Those who in courage would dare the dark realms, let them be purified first by long fasting. Lie in the sarcophagus of stone in my chamber. Then I will reveal to them the great mysteries. Soon shall they follow to where I shall meet them, even in the darkness of earth shall I meet them. I, Thoth, Lord of Wisdom, meet them and hold them and dwell with them always. I built the Great Pyramid, patterned after the Pyramid of Earth Force, burning eternally so that it too might remain through the ages. In it, I built my knowledge of magic science so that it might be here when again I return from Amenti. Yes, while I sleep in the halls of Amenti, my soul, roaming free, will incarnate, dwell among men in this form or another. You have Hermes Trisporn. Emissary on earth am I of the dweller, fulfilling his commands so that humankind might be lifted. Now I return to the halls of Amenti, leaving behind me some of my wisdom. May you preserve and keep the command of the dweller. Lift ever upwards your eyes to the light. Surely in time you are one with the Master. Surely by right you are one with the Master. Surely by right you are one with the All. Now I depart from you. Know my commandments, keep them and be them, and I will be with you, helping and guiding you into the light. Now before me opens the portal, and I go down into the darkness of night. This is the end of the first tablet. So,
Does anyone have any questions or anything that they would like to discuss based on the first chapter?
Oh, there was a lot of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, that is dense writing. That has so much crammed into it.
I hope I'm reading okay.
Oh yeah, perfect.
Yeah. Could you give us some like you said you read it not one time, you read it not 2 times, you read it 100 times.
No, like they say, you have to read it at least 100 times.
Yeah. Did you do that?
I read it one time. This is like I've listened to it one more time.
Yeah, I see.
But after I read it the first time, I was already on the process of my intuition waking up, and I started receiving so much information about things you could create, materials.
Okay, do you plan to read it maybe not 100 times, but
Yes, might go for 100 times, honestly.
What is it, Hilondray?
I always get something new.
Why don't you?
I always get something new from listening to people read it. I've heard it read about 5 times before. It really does give you more insight every single time you listen and catch more interesting things.
That's an interesting claim, yeah.
What type of insight do you get, Fundy? As in, what is it meant to teach? What is this meant to teach? I just want to have it explained so that people.
Alex, guys, I'll listen. Just get some more tea.
Yeah.
Well,
it's fine. Okay.
In the book itself, it says that reading it over and over again will provide deeper insights, and from experience, I find that's true. And I think it just has to do with how everything written is so grandiose in nature that you can kind of take just one sentence and kind of see how it applies to many other facets of life.
Okay. I kind of can see that, but isn't this like indistinguishable from like cults that like make you believe something? Like if you repeat it enough, you believe it. I mean,
Well, I don't believe anything that the book says, and I think that's the whole point of saying read it over and over again.
yeah,
Because
exactly. I think you're on.
because if you can read it once literally and you understand the language it's being read in or written in, then what's the point of reading it a second time if you understood the words the first time through? So I don't think any of it is
some
meant to
people
be
say,
taken.
"Oh, you."
Because it's the same. Let me just say, it's the same thing as watching a movie you watched 5 years ago. It's the same reason. You will see something new every time you watch it again.
Yeah, that may
Yeah.
apply, but that's not what we're
Because
talking about. We're talking about
our
repetition,
memory
like,
our memory at the time is limited. It cannot
of course.
memorize everything you see in a book. If you read
Yeah,
it in
of course.
100 types, you will literally remember the book the beginning from the end, and you'll have all the information you can use and need from the book.
I totally agree with you, Ironside. It's just I'm talking
It's
about something.
sorry to interrupt again. Again, we are talking about a book that pretty much inspired Tesla.
Yeah, sure.
So hello.
So yeah,
I'm talking about like really. I'm talking about brainwashing. I'm talking about like, oh, take this text and read it over and over and over and over and over again for 10 hours
you're not
straight.
forced to. You're not forced to. It's your choice.
Yeah,
It's
Like
different.
it doesn't force you to read it. It
Of
just
course
says
not.
you can or you cannot read it.
You do it in your own free will if you want to.
I think
At the
it's
end of the
less of
day,
a
it's a
command.
choice.
I think it's less of a command to tell you to read it over and over again, and simply a lesson that
okay,
applies to all things
It's an
that say, hey,
I
advice.
understand.
It's an
read.
advice, nothing else. It's like I advise you to read it 100 times.
I
Nothing
think
else.
it's a I think it's a lesson on its own to tell you to read this 100 times, because you can take what it says about learning more and more the more you listen or read this, and you can take that knowledge and understand, just like you said earlier, watch a
Yes.
movie 100 times and you'll get more out of it. Listen
Uh,
to a song
But
a
you could
hundred
always
times,
say
yeah,
get more out of
that's
it.
a good advice, I guess.
you
Yeah.
could say that maybe it gives you the advice to read 100 times, to go over the basics 100 times, because it's in the basics that is all the essence.
The same goes from it's similar from martial
Yeah.
arts. If you practice the basis more than 100 times, you'll be mastered the basics pretty much,
Yeah,
and the
exactly.
rest
How do
become
you advance? That that would be my question. How do you
and
advance?
and the rest becomes easier pretty much.
Like these tablets are not written in a way that the one who reads it is left with nothing.
I think
It
we've gone
gives
astray from the subject. Like Hilondray, is there like, I don't know, are there like questions that are directly connected with the material? Because I think we've gone with astray of the subject of this podcast.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, the subject is still like those tables, right?
yes.
So, what? How do you interpret it? Like, um, I guess there's more than one way to interpret it. That's material. So, um, yeah, let's just start with you.
Yeah. So in the first tablet, I interpretate that he's telling somewhat in some part the history of how it all began, how he came into being what he is, um,
So the
his path. So it talks about a
ultimate
journey.
starting point.
It's just like you could say maybe just like tarot, like before a journey, you have before the first card you have the fool.
Yeah.
The fool is going, but he doesn't know where to go. He's
Yeah.
walking the path, but he doesn't know where it leads to because he has no. He doesn't have an objective. He will find the objective along the way because it's not the end of the journey that matters, but the process of the journey. So I think he's trying to pass this, like, enjoy
Cheese.
enjoy the process, enjoy your life, because
Yeah,
life is about learning.
I can
So
see.
you're always the
Yeah,
fool.
I can see where you go there, and yeah, I appreciate that because yeah, we're n- we we're not going. We're not ever um going to have a position where we say we know everything. Like we're always learning. Yeah.
So,
Yes.
if it's okay by everybody, should I continue reading?
Sure.
Yes,
It's
please.
okay by me. Are there other
Are
questions?
there other questions from anyone?
I guess I just wanted to say that the part that you read already about Thoth returning someday
Mm-hmm.
and punishing you or rewarding you on your show of faith or trust or
Mm-hmm.
loyalty, whatever it was, is of course very reminiscent of the returning of Christ
Yeah.
and Judgment Day and all.
If you think about it, if every religion, and I gotta say something about what Fundy said, if every religion comes from these tablets, uh, like all the mysteries came from here. So you think about the drought.
You know, that's almost
You
too
know,
easy,
like,
isn't it?
you could compare to all the histories that are in all the other religions. It's just that when you match time with the history of all other religions, it's something that didn't happen at the time. So you could say they translated and made a new religion from out of the tablets. Like, you know how Christianism has the 10 commandments. You
Yep.
even have that movie about the 15 commandments that
And
turn
there
into
are
10.
several like sets
Yeah,
of
but you know
commandments
the 10
throughout the
commandments
Bible.
of the Bible.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
the
have
Ten
10
Commandments
commandments. You
also
have,
delivered on tablets.
yeah. So when you do a mirror interpretation, it's like they took something from somewhere and just put it there. So what I think the tablets are a guide for people who are following the
But you gotta
intuition
find
side.
out. Yeah, what you gotta find out is how is this practicable today? Like, how, what would you get out of it today?
You
Because
will
these
have
are
to find
ancient
that.
texts.
You have to find that
For
after
yourself.
hearing the tablets, maybe reading them if they
Yeah,
call you.
like you mean like pull them, um, like everyone should read them and pull their um
Their own
conclusions out.
concussions.
Yeah, their own yeah
Like,
proportions.
I don't say everyone should, but I advise for, like, I
Like
advise
yeah,
people to read it.
yeah, you how do you say not advice you how you say sorry, English not my first language, but you commend it, like this is like good reading.
Yes, but
I
not
commend
like
it to you.
I command it. Is I
Yeah,
advise.
yeah, yeah,
I advise
yeah.
because I'm used to say I'm a signpost.
All right.
And if this helped me, like, I've always had a thing about finding a book that gave me like wisdom, and
I
it was a
see.
really good old book.
Yeah.
And right when I put my hands on this, I was like, I don't need any more books, because this is the key to
A key.
understand. Like,
Right.
you will see that throughout the tablets, he refers to the tablets as keys or mysteries.
Hmm.
So let's continue.
Oh yeah.
Emerald Tablet 2. The Halls of Amenti. Deep in the hearts lie the halls of Amenti, far beneath the islands of the sunken Atlantis, halls of the dead and halls of the living, bathed in fire of the infinite hall. Far in a past time, lost in the space-time, the children of light looked down on the world. They saw the children of life in their bondage, bound by the force that came from beyond. They knew that only by freedom from bondage could humanity ever rise from the earth to the sun. So down they descended and created bodies, taking the semblance of humans as their own. The masters of everything said after their forming, "We are they who were formed from the space dust, partaking of life from the infinite all, living in the world as children of life, like and yet unlike the children of life." Then, for a dwelling place far beneath the earth's crust, they blasted great spaces by their power, spaces apart from the children of life, surrounded them by forces and power, and they shielded from harms the halls of the dead. Side by side, then, they placed other spaces, filled them with life, and with light from above. They then built the halls of Amenti, so that they might dwell eternally there, living with life to eternity's end. 30 and 2 were the children of the were there of the children of light, who had come among people, seeking to free from the bondage of darkness those who were bound by the force from beyond. Deep in the halls of life grew a flower, flaming, expanding, driving backward the night. Placed in the center, a ray of great potence, life-giving, light-giving, filling with power all who came near it. Around it they placed thrones, 32, places for each of the children of light. They were placed so that they were bathed in radiance, filled with the life from the eternal light. There, time after time, they placed their first created bodies, so that they might be filled with the spirit of life. 100 years out of each 1,000 must the life-giving light flame forth on their bodies, quickening, awakening the spirit of life. There, in the circle from Aeon to Aeon, sit the great masters, living a life not known among humanity. There, in the halls of life, they lie sleeping. Their souls flow freely through the bodies of mankind. Time after time, while their bodies lay sleeping, they would incarnate in the bodies of people, teaching and guiding onward and upward, out of the darkness and into the light. The children of light sit in the halls of life, filled with their wisdom, known not to the races of mankind, living forever beneath the cold fire of life. There are times when they awaken and come forth from the depths to be lights among people, infinite they among the finite. Those who by progress have grown from the darkness, lifted themselves from the night into light, free are they made of the halls of Amenti, free of the flower of light and of life. Guided they, then, by wisdom and knowledge, passes from mortal into a master of life. There they may dwell as one with the masters, free from the bonds of the darkness of night. Within the flower of radiance sit the seven lords from the space-time above us, helping and guiding through infinite wisdom, the pathway through time of the children of life. Mighty and strange, they, veiled with their power, silent, all-knowing, drawing the life force, different yet one with the children of life. A. Different and yet one with the children of light. Custodians and watchers of the force of man bondage, ready to lose when the light has been reached. First and most might sits the veiled presence, Lord of Lords, the infinite nine, over the others from each cosmic cycle, waiting and watching the progress of mankind. Under he sit the lords of the cycles, 3, 4, 5, and 6, 7, 8, each with his mission, each with his power, guiding, directing the destiny of men. There sit they, mighty and potent, free of all time and space. Not of this world they, yet akin to it, elder kin they, of the children of life, judging and waiting, they with their wisdom, watching the progress light among humans. Before them, I was led by the dweller, watched him blend with one from above. Then from he came forth a voice saying, Great art thou, Thoth, among the children of life. free henceforth of the halls of Amenti, master of life among children of life. Taste not of death, except, as you will it, may you drink of life to eternity's end. Henceforth, forever is life, yours for the taking. Henceforth is death at the call of your hand. Dwell here, or live here when you desire it. Free is Amenti to the son of mankind. May you take up life in what form you desire, child of the light that has grown among people. May you choose your work, for all souls must labor, and never be free from the pathway of light. One step you have gained on the long pathway upward. Infinite now is the mountain of light. Each step you take but heightens the mountain. All of your progress but lengthens the goal. As you ever approach the infinite wisdom, ever before you the goal shall recede. You are now free of the halls of Amenti, to walk hand in hand with the lords of the world, one in one purpose, working together, bringers of light to the children of life. Then from his throne came one of the masters, taking my hand and leading me onward, through all the halls of the deep hidden land. He led me through the halls of Amenti, showing the mysteries that are known not to mankind. Through the dark passage, downward, he led me into the hall, where sits the dark death. Vast as space lay the great hall before me, veiled by darkness, but yet filled with light. Before me arose a great throne of darkness. Veiled on it seated a figure of the night. Darker than darkness sat the great figure, dark with the darkness not of the night. Before it then paused the master, speaking the word that brings about life, saying, "O Master of darkness, guide of the way from life into life, before you I bring you a son of the morning. Touch him not ever with the power of night. Do not call his flame to the darkness of night. Know him and see him, one of our brothers, lifted from darkness and into the light. Release now his flame from its bondage, and let it flame free through the darkness of night." Then the end of the figure raised, and forth came a flame that grew clear and bright, rolled back swiftly the curtain of darkness, unveiling the hall from the darkness of night. Then grew in the great space before me, flame after flame from the veil of the night. Uncounted millions leaped up before me, some flaming forth as flowers of life. Others there were that shed a dim radiance, glowing but faintly from out of the night. Some there were that faded swiftly, others that grew from a small spark of light, each surrounded by its dim veil of darkness, yet flaming with the light that could never be quenched. Coming and going like fireflies in a springtime, filled they the space with light and with life. Then spoke a voice, mighty and solemn, saying, "These are the lights that are souls of the people, growing and fading, existing forever, changing yet living, through death into life. When they have bloomed into flower, reached the zenith of growth in their life, swiftly I then send my veil of darkness, shrouding and changing to new forms of life. Steadily upward throughout the ages, the souls grow and expand into yet greater flame, lighting the darkness with yet greater power, quenched yet unquenched by the veil of the night. So grows the soul of humanity ever upward, quenched yet unquenched by the darkness of night. I, Death, come, and yet I do not remain, for life eternal exists in the all. Only an obstacle am I in the pathway, quick to be conquered by the infinite light. Awaken, O flame that burns ever inward, flame forth, and conquer the veil of the night. Then, in the midst of the flames, in the darkness, grew there one that drove forth the night, flaming, expanding, ever brighter, until at last was nothing but light. Then my guide spoke, the voice of the Master. See your own soul as it grows into the light, free now forever from the Lord of the Night. Forward he led me through many great spaces, filled with the mysteries of the children of light, mysteries that humanity may never yet know of until you too are a son of the light. Then He led me backward into the hall of the light. I then knelt before the great masters, lords of all, from the cycles above. Then he spoke with words of great power, saying, "You have been made free of the halls of Amenti. Choose now your work among the children of humankind." And then I spoke. "O great master, let me be a teacher to mankind, leading them onward and upward until they too are lights in the world, freed from the veil of the night that surrounds them, flaming with light that shall shine among life." The voice then responded to me, "Go as you will, so it be decreed. Master are you of your own destiny, free to take or reject at will. Take now the power, take of the wisdom, shine as a light among the children of life." Upward then the dweller led me, and I dwelt I again among the children of life, teaching and showing some of my wisdom, son of the light, a fire among mankind. Now again I tread the path downward, seeking the light in the darkness of night. May you hold and keep safe, preserve my record, and a guide shall it be to the children of life. This is the end of the second tablet. Any questions?
Wow, there was a bunch. um, yeah, seems like like
Well, I have one about when you said the, oh God, where is it? I made a note and now I actually can't see it. Master of Darkness. Didn't you say
Mhm.
Master of Darkness?
Master of Darkness? Yes.
Is that what you
I think
said in there?
he was talking about death, I think.
He's talking about death?
Yes.
Okay.
In this tablet, he talks about the halls of Amenti. The halls of Amenti are the principal place where energy is. It has, for what he says, there exists a portal in the planet, but it leads to another dimension.
that seems exciting.
Like as he goes on with the tablets, he explains the process of life coming into life, the source.
Like how
And it says, as it created light, it created darkness, because balance must be achieved.
I see.
Uh,
Um, uh, is there like no go on.
God, I mean, what is God?
I don't know.
You are God.
I know I'm not.
I am God. Everyone here is God. Every human being that exists on the planet,
I mean,
every animal is.
we're god of our own fates, if you mean it like that. But
You are thinking in a like in a
yeah, you may
point, not
say
in a
that.
globe.
You may say that.
You are seeing your
Too
own.
humble, but you know, I, I don't like to think of myself as a god. That seems a bit arrogant to me.
Like, I don't say I am God with the
I'm not saying
arrogance.
you're arrogant.
No, not at all. I'm
So,
just saying, like, people need to understand that they are part of God, part of the source. I don't like to call it God. I usually call it force.
maybe, yeah,
The force
sure.
that binds us all together.
I get what you're saying. Yeah,
In
Like,
my opinion, there is only God.
sure.
you call
I
it
mean,
whatever you want. Like,
yeah. Is your opinion that you like? Yeah, we're all part of it. Like,
if we were not all part of it, you wouldn't be here today.
yeah, maybe.
You were
Yeah,
called to do it.
I can't. I can't get behind this. Yeah, sure.
All is one, right? I mean, that's what sums it all up.
Yeah, but like,
Uh,
life is
you
made
have
by
to
ones
mind.
and twos.
You have to mind the distinctions between still. I mean, of course, we're all one, but I still think you have a degree of separation. if you want to call it that.
There is separation because of the world we live in.
Yeah,
I mean, think about this.
and you
We
should,
are not so free to explore our own inner dimensions and
Mhm.
to quench
see.
our need for answers
Sure.
in the invisible.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
every time you try to answer to a question, you come across a blockage, usually that is
Uh,
imposed by society.
yeah.
Separation
Like,
is really an illusion of time in the sense that like you're made out of water, but that water was once, a chicken egg.
Not hundred
And
percent, but yeah, yeah. Your
you don't
body
think
is
there's any
made
water in you?
is like 75%, like 80%. Yeah, like that.
Sure. But even what makes up your fingernails was once a piece of dirt, that was once a flower, that was once
Oh,
a tree,
sure.
that was
Yeah, yeah.
once a
so
That's
leopard.
you end
yeah,
up being everything.
yeah. Sure.
Yeah.
That feeds about like those.
And if you don't think it's happened
We're
so
all
far, just give it
starseed.
some time,
We're a
You'll turn into
stardust.
dust. You'll return
Yeah.
to where you came from and to the dirt, and that'll keep on going and going and going.
Sure.
So separation, I mean, there's definitely a degree of separation, but only if you want to take
There is
a slice of moment in time and really
there is
get picky about
separation
things.
to unify.
Yeah, but what are you talking about now? I mean, separation. I'm definitely
Like this came
like
with the Master of Darkness and Death. It all came at the same
I'm
time.
look. I'm all for like like the public opinion, the public image of Satanists, for example,
Hmm.
is not very good. They think, yeah, they're sacrificing children and
I
drinking
mean,
blood, but it's not. It's
if
not
you
at all
actually
like
read
that.
their Bible,
It's
they
not at
have a
all
lot
like
of more values.
yeah.
If you
So
just read their Bible,
I know some Satanists, and it's not. One of them is a Levian. Uh, they're not at all like this. Not at all. So yeah, but they're just like a troll group, triggering Christians. I mean, I have nothing to do with this because I think you can believe what
oh
you
yes,
want.
like
I'm not into flying spaghetti monster and like I don't care. Believe what you want, right?
You got to
yes, you
judge
believe
people.
whatever you want. No,
You got to judge people on an individual basis.
one thing that
Exactly, Hilondray.
Maritza
You
said,
gotta judge people on an individual basis.
it was
That
fundamental that said that
exactly. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Maritza said that value in Satanism. Okay, come on, man. So I
There's
mean,
value in
I'm not a
Satanism.
Satanist. I'm not
There is.
a Luciferianist.
There
I'm
is.
not Wicca. I was born into a Christian family. Uh,
And accept that and
and
respect.
the surge and the reach for magic has always been cut from me. Now, what I say about value in Satanism is if you actually take the Bible in your hands, the Satanist Bible, and you read it, there are basic
Wait a second.
values.
Wait a second. What is a Satanist Bible exactly? Because there's no real. That's not such a thing. I mean, are you referring to a writing of uh
It's a writing from Anton LaVey from
Anton LaVey? Yeah.
1969.
Right.
Like, if you read it, and I don't follow it, I mean, whatever, a Bible is a Bible. It's a book that tries to tell one history
Yeah.
and try to pass values. It's just that.
It's an anti movement.
So, like,
Yeah.
this is an anti-movement for Christianity.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And like,
Like you started that way.
they
Like,
in a way,
it's unfair to say that they're still
there
that
is
way because that's not the truth.
there is one rule in this book that says, and it relates to physical relation,
Mm-hmm.
sex.
No.
which says
sure.
that you should not abuse. If one doesn't want, you should keep respect. For a Satanist Bible, it should maybe, by the portrait they have, you would think it would say there, rape them. Like, it doesn't say rape them. It says,
No.
don't do it. So
Look.
that's the kind of value I'm speaking about. It's
Yeah.
more like respect yourself and the others.
Sure. But like the Satanists I know,
The Bible came
they like they're more
much
like
more
the
after
flying spaghetti
the
monster.
tablets.
They're more like the flying spaghetti monster cult, like making fun of religion. I mean, they they made uh, 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 several um but how fuck, I forgot the name, like the uh devil statues, like they brought up uh Mephistopheles, no, like yeah, they brought
Mephistopheles.
yeah,
Mis- mm,
they
Mephistopheles.
they managed to build satanistic statues,
Statues.
yeah, statues. So
Are you saying this is like satanic
no, I'm
right?
saying this is just
No,
a joke.
this
They
came
don't really
because
believe this.
it came.
They just do this to piss off Christians. Like really, this is difference. They don't really believe this.
But these emerald tablets are actually tablets that were found.
Yes.
I know.
For what they say, yes. I can't validate the scientific aspects of it.
So all this is just someone's perspective. A very
This
long time ago.
appeared. It's an old document because they are referred into many parts of the history around the world, and the document appeared. The thing is, you can read it or you cannot read it. For the one who reads it, usually there comes some insight after that.
That's why I don't.
Insight
think
you could have by meditation, maybe, but
I mean, I really have a lot of respect for you, Hilondray, for reading this for us. But I don't think it's the right medium because, like, you have to read it for yourself. You have to process every sentence.
See, I disagree with that though. I think you
That's
don't
just me. That's just me.
no, and I respect that, but you obviously don't resonate with it, and that's
Yeah.
fine. Like not everyone's
You
gonna
have to
resonate
read
with
it
it.
100 times. Yeah.
If it helps you to read it on your own, then that's fine. But if you don't resonate to even read it on your own, then that's fine as well.
It's great to for Hilondray to advertise it, but we have to read it on our own.
yes, if you want to read it on
Yeah.
your own, or you can
Understand it.
listen to it, it's okay.
Yeah.
Like I'm reading it because
That's what
it
I'm
was
taking away from you.
Well, there's one particular reading of it on YouTube that whenever I feel I need some inspiration of any sort, really, I like throwing it up. I've listened to the whole thing about 5 times, and I enjoyed every single time. It's one particular guy who reads it, a little bit of background music, and
it's the psychedelic one.
I'm not sure. There's a few. He just has the nicest reading voice, in my opinion. That's why I like his pace and his tone are very nice to listen to for the 2 hours he reads it. And I've never actually had a copy of the text myself physically to read over myself.
If you want
I'd
a
enjoy
copy
it.
of the text, I can give you.
Oh, sure, like a PDF.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. Send one over, please, in Discord. But as far as listening versus reading, I think there's benefits to both. And
Yes, because listening is vibration and reading is another type of vibration, sound and
sound and
intuition.
light, sonoluminescence, audio visual presentation. That's what I'm about. But yeah,
it's not like that. It's not like he is telling you a story that goes like, oh, now he does that, and then he goes there.
That's exactly what the first tablet is like. He says, "Oh, I was born in Atlantis, and I went to the dweller of the temple, and he
Yeah,
sent
at
me out on my
first.
journey, and I took his ship, and I ascended into the air, and I
There's so
went to
much
find the
in this.
barbarians."
Yeah, there's so much in this material that, like, you have to read this, like, you have to understand every sentence before you
I don't
go.
have a problem understanding every sentence, although I suspect that there's a more poetic meaning than I can comprehend
More
just
power
with
to you then, because I couldn't keep up. I mean, that's more power to you.
Oh, well,
Just
play the recording on YouTube back at half speed or something later.
yeah, but I'm going to yeah, look more into this, and yeah,
You all in the server of the
Yeah, he's in the
ascending
server.
tribe?
yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah,
Yeah, I think we all are.
I will drop the link there.
yeah, we all are.
I will drop the link there.
That's
Thanks,
great.
Hilondray. Appreciate
No
that.
problem.
Thank you.
I just see it that we're all exploring. That's just how I see it. We're just
Yeah.
all exploring different avenues. There's many different perspectives. I just feel there's not one way. The one way does not resonate, I feel. I like exploring.
Exactly. But I think we're a great team. I mean, and I mean, we come from all over the world, and we have so many different backgrounds and perspectives, experiences.
Exactly, and we're still
Yeah.
able to connect. And I feel that that's what's really important, you know?
We can make something great. So
My opinion of these Emerald Tablets is that um,
I'm
I don't.
gonna
I think it's more of a literary work than a literal work. So I think the layers of poetry in it are at least like 2 layers deep at all times. Nothing is as simple as it appears at first, you know?
it's like the writings from the Elder Futhark from the north.
Uh, can you explain that? Because
Like there are some stones that derive from the northern mythology.
And is there another like southern?
Like it's the rune stones, and they are like megalithic, not, but they are like boulders, pretty big, which have drawing of runes on them. It's a poem. It translates to a poem, but if you have like to translate it better to understand some meanings that come from it.
Okay. So did they arrange those boulders in any specific way, or
They are kind of lost texts from that time, like knowledge from that time that is into words, like the tablet. It is everywhere.
like how do like give me a visual image, like how those stones look?
Well, if you search for rune stones, you will have a lot of images up.
I can do that. Wait a second.
You have one which is called the Lingsberg runestone in Sweden.
Wait a second. I'm starting up my browser.
Then you have stones in Denmark.
My laptop is very old.
No problem.
That's gonna take some time.
So,
all right.
We are deviating
so
from
what do I have
from
to
the
search
original.
for?
Rune stones.
Rune.
I'd just like to point out the time, guys, because I usually like these to an hour. So maybe Hilondray, you want to close and we can take this.
Yes, I think there are no more dots. I don't know if I should continue the reading. You tell me, like later in a newer session, session.
Yeah, no, we can split this. Obviously, it's quite long. Obviously, we can.
I will
leave
the link to the text in the server, for everyone to download. I will leave a link to the sound option that Fundamental talked about, and you all can see if you want and read. And in another session, I can continue reading and we can interpret it together.